Hello, Internet. This is Ewan Spence and ESC Insight calling. There's a branch on a tree where you carved your initials, and Eurovision will always see. Coming up, who's singing in which language, who's singing for which country, and who's announcing an announcement. Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're listening. Welcome to the ESC Insight News podcast, bringing you all the action from the world of the Eurovision Song Contest over the last 7 days. I'm Ewan Spence from ESCinsight.com, and well, what have we got coming up? Well, we've already mentioned those at the top of the song, but we've got the results, we've got extra bits of news, we've got duels being set up, and we also got news about the contest itself happening in May. So we'll start there. Okay, let's just remember everybody, May 12th and 14th for the semi-finals, May 16th for the grand finals. Hotel prices are always up there. They'll start coming down soon enough. There's one batch of tickets left to go on sale at the end of March from the official ticket suppliers. There's one official reseller. We would recommend avoiding everywhere else. Best bet is to follow the links on the official website at Eurovision.tv. In terms of the staging in Rotterdam, there's going to be two stages. There's the main stage, there's going to be a satellite stage, or the B stage, except there's going to be a semi-transparent screen that will descend from the roof, something like 20 odd feet wide, and it can be used by the performers, bit of choreography, bit of extra stuff at the side, but it is semi-transparent, so no matter where you are in the auditorium, you'll be able to see the action. I suspect it's going to come in very, very interestingly in the interval acts and the opening acts and such like as well. We might even see a giant scoreboard on it. You never know. Speaking of the interval acts, we've got some more details about the opening acts and the interval acts coming through. They're just slowly coming out through. For the grand final, one of the interval acts is going to have 7 winning Eurovision songs from history and bringing them to the stage. So Gigliola Concetti from Italy's 1964 Nonoletta, Lenny Kerr, who won for the Netherlands in 1969 with the Troubadour, Tietjen, also winning for the Netherlands in 1975. Gerry Kaspers will be representing them for Ding a Dong. Sandra Kim from Belgium in 1986. Paul Harrington, Charlie McGettigan from Ireland in 1994, the Irish imperious years. Alexander Rybak from Norway's 2009 victory with Fairy Tale, always bring a violin. And Duncan Lawrence, of course, who won last year with Arcade for the Netherlands. Irish press are reporting that both Dana and Johnny Logan, who won the Eurovision Song Contest, each of them in the Netherlands, were hoping to be invited as well. If I was in a joke community, I suggest that Arvo Tross felt that sitting at a piano to win the Eurovision Song Contest, like Paul and Charlie did, is a bit more in keeping with the spirit of Arcade. And also we have details on who's opening semi-final 2 is Redo, who's a breakdancer and motivational speaker who's not let his body get in the way of having success in his career. Also dotted throughout the show will be Taxi Time with Edsilla Rombley, one of our 3 hosts, who's always going to be driving former Eurovision singers around Rotterdam in a taxi, talking about the impact the show has had on their lives and their careers. We're going to have Anna-Marie David in there, Ithar Cohen, Niamh Kavanagh and Ruth Langa dotted through. Now the chances are that's going to be the bit where some broadcasters opt out for a commercial break or a hilarious sketch set in a hotel room. We'll just see where that pops up in the programme as well. In terms of scripting, the head of the show has said that the opening ceremony with all the flag parades and everything will have a party atmosphere, but it will be much shorter, and he's not going to put any humour in the script, but he's indicated heavily that hosts are going to have freedom to improvise and bounce around and react to what's happening because he feels that's a more natural way to bring humour into the show. And finally here, just a little tiny note about Junior Eurovision 2020, of course hosted in Poland in 2019 and with a Poland victory as well. There's a little bit of its Polish broadcaster TVP going to pick up and do it back to back again. At the Polish selection national final this weekend, the head of TVP popped up and asked the audience if Poland should be the organiser of Eurovision Junior again. So listen to the Polish news over the next few days. Make of that quote what you will. So, part of the fun between all the songs getting submitted in the middle of March to the EBU and to the rehearsals starting at the start of May is the preview shows, organised by the community in many cases, and tickets on sale, and the artists come on to sort of rehearsal, speak to the fans, and so on. There's three major ones that go on. We have Eurovision Concert in Amsterdam, which is on 4th of April. The London Eurovision Party, which is on March the 29th in London, and Spain's ES Pre-Party, which is April 10th and 11th in Madrid. Now, more of these guests and singers are going to be confirmed as we go along, but so far, ES Pre-Party, we have 9 acts confirmed. Now, because it's over 10 days, April 10th, we have Melanie Garcia, who was at Junior Eurovision 2019 for Spain last year, Poliganova, Krista Siegfrieds and Zlata Ognjevic. April 11th, we have the stars of this year's Eurovision, so Arlena Ara from Albania, Blas Canto from Spain, Samantha Tina from Latvia, Victoria from Bulgaria, and Vincent Bueno from Austria. Over in London, similar lineup so far. Arlena Ara from Albania, Blas Canto from Spain, Samantha Tina from Latvia, and Senike, who's going to be a special guest. She sung for the Netherlands in 2010. Paddy O'Connell there returns to co-host. Suri is going to be pinch hitting for Nikki French, who's prior commitments this year. You also have Eurovision in Concert, which is taking place over in Amsterdam on the 4th of April, literally just up the road from where Rotterdam is. Arlena Ara from Albania, Vincent Bueno from Austria, Hoover Fornic from Belgium, Victoria from Bulgaria, Blas Canto from Spain, and The Roop from Lithuania are so far confirmed. Expect all of these parties, by the way, to get more of this year's Eurovision acts once, they've won through national finals, they've confirmed, and they've got their diary sorted out. Also, Eurovision in Concert, they've got some of the greats from the past in Eurovision. Netherlands, so Maggie McNeil is going to be there, Linda Wagenmakers is going to be there, Marsha will be there as well. So we'll go from those who are definitely going and those who have been before to those who are looking to go as we hit this week's results. Okay, so it's slightly slower this week, but see you next weekend coming up. Really busy. So let's go. Belgium, Hoover Fornic have debuted their song Release Me. The band and the song have been an eternal selection. It's a Hoover Fornic track. If you know the band, it's exactly what you would expect. It's dark, it's moody, and its success is going to be very dependent on the staging. But what I love is this is the band who are completely honest to themselves, who haven't decided, we'll do something that feels Eurovision. They've done something that feels Hoover Fornic, and I think in the long run that will benefit them. France had an understated reveal of Tom Leeb's The Best in Me. He stood in the middle of the Eiffel Tower in the middle of the storm, and all the lights and spotlights were on them, and drones flying around the Parisian landmark. So full-on production there. But also, there's an acoustic version that he's doing around as well. So while the full-on production version of the song is the one I expect to be submitted to the song contest, there may be an option to pull in what we call a Serhat and switch it over from the big production slagger to something a little bit more smaller and intimate. I think the switch is maybe about 5 to 10% likely, but do keep an eye on it. And if not, keep an eye on us here at the podcast, twitter.com/ESC Insight, and over on facebook.com/ESC Insight as well. In terms of competitive shows, 3 national finals selected the song, 2 others had heats. Poland, grand final, which we've already mentioned in regards to Junior Eurovision. Elisa Semblinska won through for the national selection, so there's no return to Eurovision for Lake Malawi's lead singer Albert Cerny, who sung in Tel Aviv last year. Alicia will be singing Empires in Rotterdam. 3 ran. Slovenia and EMA's grand final saw Anna Soklis win through that selection with her song Voda. Jury voting cut down the field to the 2 singers, and then Soklis and Junior Eurovision 2015 star Lena Kucevic went through to head-to-head, and that was where the televote came in at 100%, with, of course, as you can spot, Anna taking the prize there. It's worth noting that Anna is not yet sure if she's going to be singing Voda in Slovene or switching to another language, presumably English. Again, we'll keep you up to date on that as well. 12 ran. Ukraine giving us the early opener on Saturday night. The winner of Vidbeer 2020 is Go_A, topping both the public vote and the jury vote to sweep the scoreboard. They're going to be singing Solove, and that song heads off to Rotterdam as well. 6 ran. On to the heats now. Portugal, first of 2 semi-finals for Portugal's Festival of Canção took place. 4 qualifiers going through there to the final in 2 weeks' time. Felipe Sambaudo, Barbara Tinoco, Elisa, and Throws plus the Shine 8 ran. Final hit over in Sweden from Melodifestivalen. Direct through to Friends Arena in 2 weeks' time in the big final will be Hannah Färm doing her best impression of Jessica Mauboy, Victor Kron doing his best impression of Kenny Chesney, and through to the second chance round, which happens this weekend, Frida Orn and the duet from Ellen Benedictson and Simon Perron, which needed just a bit more Jim Steinman in my opinion. 7 ran. Okay, picking up some of the bits and pieces of news from each of the countries. Albania is also looking at a language change here. Arlena Ara has announced that she's expecting to change the language from Shaz, which will now be mainly in English. She's been recording in LA for the album. This was one of the tracks there. There's no word on the release date of the re-edit of the song. Austria, no more details on what Vincent will be singing, but we do know when we will hear it, and that will be on March the 5th. Bulgaria, similar story for Victoria. We know that the song is going to be heard on March the 7th. Greece, same story here again. It's an internal selection of Stefania for the artist, which we already knew, but the song Supergirl, we'll hear that on March the 1st. There's a special TV programme for that being called Eurovision Countdown on Greek TV. Over in Iceland, a little heads up on Song Bekepnin. The rules state that whichever language you sing in the final of the Icelandic national selection, that's the language you use at Eurovision. So you can't sing in Icelandic to get the votes and then switch to English. If you sing in Icelandic, you're in Icelandic. If you sing in English, you're singing in English. If you sing in French, you're singing in French, and so on and so on and so on. Now, at the start of the process, the song Oculus Vider was assumed it was going to be sung in English. There's an English version of it on the soundtrack ready to go. But they've made a late change there. It's going to be switching from that English into Icelandic for the final. So if it does qualify through to go to Rotterdam, it will stay in Icelandic. Romania next. Roxanne was an internally selected artist who we announced last week. She's going to be singing 5 songs this Sunday on television, and the public will vote on which song she will take to the song contest. Alcohol You and Cherry Red, brand new song titles to Eurovision. Colours as a song title has shown up in a couple of national finals, and Beautiful Disaster and Storm are going to raise eyebrows in the Eurovision community, having been pretty strong songs themselves over the last couple of years. Sweden, in their second chance round, they have 8 going into the mix. They do 4 head-to-heads, and the 4 that went through will get through to the grand final the week after on Saturday. The pairing ups have been announced. Anis Don Demina will go up against Simon Perron and Ellen Benedictson. Malu Pritz will go up against Paul Ray. Felix Sandman will go up against Frida Orn, and Mendez with Alvaro on assistance goes up against Drangarna. And finally to the UK, and I don't need to leave a gap here because on Saturday the BBC announced that the actual announcement would happen on Thursday. So 27th of February, we are going to hear the UK song and find out who the UK artist is. It's going to be on Radio 1 and Radio 2. Now, so a little bit of excitement there, looking at something maybe a little bit more chart focused from the BBC. Okay, what have we got going on over the next week at ESC Insight? Well, we're going to have a look at some of the singers in the Finnish national selection. We'll have more from Ben on the ground at Sweden's Melodifestivalen. Our Patreon podcast from Ben, looking at the Marathon Swedish selection, will pop up on Friday. And we'll have a newsletter going out on Saturday, giving you all the links and times for the shows that will be happening at that weekend. And that makes it a very busy newsletter because, here we go, next 7 days. Get your diaries out, get ready for this. We start on Thursday, the 27th. Germany will be doing an artist and song reveal in the evening on Sir Leard for Rotterdam. United Kingdom is doing the artist and song announcement in the morning with Greg James and Ken Bruce. Friday is the national final over in Belarus and the semi-final in Serbia. Saturday, 4 shows which will make the final decisions for the countries: Croatia, Estonia, Iceland and Moldova. Also semi-finals in Portugal and Serbia, and the second chance round Andra Chansen in Sweden. Sunday, we'll have the song announcement from Greece, we will have the final from Serbia, and we will have the final from Romania. And next week, I'm going to get all those results into the show. That's going to be fun. But it's going to be a full fun weekend of Eurovision madness and fun and games. We carry on. We're another 7 days closer to the grand final in Rotterdam and everything that's going on. That means we're 7 days closer to Jukebox Jury and our song review starting. We're 7 days closer to getting the daily backstage podcasts going on. All of that to look forward to and more from myself, Ewan Spence and the team at ENC Insight. It also means there's going to be a lot more podcasts that all end with the guitars. The ESC Insight News podcast was written and hosted by Ewan Spence, www.escinsight.com.